Teaching at the University of Music and Performing Arts Vienna includes responsibility for the further developing of arts and science. As an involving global player in our field, this mission is not restricted to our country, but rather worldwide.
I think that going into another society explodes your mindset, and you forget how strict our mindset is. So explosion of mindset is good for everybody. We learn from them, they learn from us. And the exchange is the most important thing.
As teachers, we are encouraged and supported in developing projects of international exchange.
Beside the Viennese style of making music, making theater, making films and movies, I think the speciality of this university is we are very, very international. So we have students from 70 nations all over the world. And I think we are the best practice for living together in worship, in respect.
We are living in a global world, and this is why we have established more than 180 corporations with institutions worldwide. In the meantime, we have the possibility for our students and also for our faculty to go abroad and exchange on an international level.
So we wanted to invent a natural way of performing, which also fits to our principle of European staging.
With Vietnam, a long-grown relationship exists.
I invited two of the students of the directing class and the senior lecturer at that time, Professor T. And I invited them to come to Vienna and join us in the directing class in Vienna. We did Carmen with 14 different directors, and they did fantastically well.
Chàng Romeo của em.
Now another adventurous project was made possible, to rehearse and perform William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet with students of the Academy for Theatre and Cinema in Hanoi.
We are fortunate that the Austrian government is offering support with the small Far East Asian countries. We take advantage of this support from Asia Uninet.
And huge thanks also to AsiaNet, who made it possible to do such a work of, let's say, friendship and international exchange between Europe and Austria, between Vienna and Hanoi.
MDW sent 2 full professors and directors in musical drama, straight theatre and cinema to Hanoi. My Asian experienced colleague Beverly Blankenship and me. We arrived in April 2018 after a long period of preparing.
It's about rituals and organization.
Exactly.
An overwhelming process of mutual learning and hard, yet daily growing work began, and again showed very clearly, learning in art is learning for life.
I strongly believe that when you are here, you will see our tradition, our culture, and that is very important for you and for us as well, because we would like to introduce our culture, our identity, and you want to learn about Vietnamese behavior, Vietnamese society.
This university stands for human rights, for equal rights, and for respect to human beings.
Some basic yet important principles of our understanding of education turned out to be attractive for Vietnamese staff and students, for instance in creating a room of mutual trust.
We have a master system mixed with a inclusive system where feedback by the students is welcome.
You are a high lady. Why don't you do nothing?
You have to be open to everything that they're gonna teach you, but you cannot fully open when you still have a space or you still create a world that he's the teacher, he is a big person. I'm not at the same level with him. Yeah, you are not at the same level with him, but you respect each other at the same level.
Acting, bringing the actors together to play as an ensemble, not to play as superstars, but to get into the role and act together. And there I think we have quite something to offer, and this is why we liked very much to support our faculty to go to Vietnam and to work together with the Vietnamese colleagues in theater productions.
At Max Reinhardt's seminar, performing art is the art of playing in the ensemble. We have offered a contemporary toolbox influenced by the European Masters of Education in Performing Arts, such as Konstantin Stanislavski, Jerzy Grotowski, Max Reinhardt or Peter Brook, and we were happy to accompany the process of daily growth.
Đối với diễn viên, khi mà được học hỏi chuyên gia nước ngoài đến Việt Nam ấy, thì thứ nhất, điều quan trọng nhất là họ được học về cách làm việc. Cái cách làm việc thứ hai nữa là cái quan trọng thứ hai nữa là cái cách tư duy, và cái thứ ba nữa là cái sự giao thoa văn hóa giữa cái tâm lý của người nước ngoài đối với tâm lý của người Việt Nam. Khi áp dụng một vở kịch của nước ngoài vào thì cái tâm lý đấy nó sẽ như thế nào?
On the other hand, we learned about Vietnam's famous and admirable theatre tradition, as well as about a longing to combine it with nowadays aspects of contemporary theatre and content.
We are in the globalization, but we stay specialized and with our own profiles and identity.
A substantial culture of international exchange enables both sides to have a fresh look on the crucial question of tradition and innovation.
Giờ nào người ta còn thấy hắn ở chốn này, giờ đó sẽ là giờ cuối cùng của đời hắn. Mang cái sắc này đi và tuân theo lệnh ta.
Hanoi Academy of Theatre and Cinema is one of the leading theatre and film school in Vietnam. And we are very interested in setting up and developing international collaborations with different countries as a productive way to improve our quality, education quality at our school.
Usually, theatre people assume the work is the same all over the place, and it's not. People work differently.
First of all, it was important to realize that the sheer circumstances of living as an artist or student of arts are completely different from ours.
And I promise I will just keep your time when rehearsing. Everyone that is not really needed can go his way, prepare.
Hanoi is a fantastically turbulent city, and I think people have to work very hard here to make a living. Our musicians in the opera had to go and work at the Hilton Hotel in the evening to earn extra money. So everybody was working an extremely long hours to earn money, and that was different from our privileged theatre life.
For Vietnamese students, they are working very hard, but sometimes they are very shy. It's cultural aspect.
Chào các vị. Tôi có một lời muốn nói với một trong hai vị đấy. Lòng yêu của tao đối với mày khiến cho tao không thể dùng chữ nào khác ngoài chữ này. Mày là một thằng khốn nạn.
I think that is just like a big problems of Vietnamese students in any object, not just art. That they always, most of them, they're always afraid of they are not good enough to try something new, to try something that they are not usually to. But especially in art, you have to try new things every single day.
Hài họa chết tiệt nhà các anh.
in acting, you need to know what people usually do and then say, okay, I'll be doing it different. Let me show you how to do it differently. But you need to know if there's a difference. If you don't know that, you get confused.
For our student, I think when they can work very deeply with the text, everything will be fine. Yeah, I think so.
So he goes in the park of the enemy, and he knows that with every line there is a chance to convince her. And somehow deep inside he knows if he convinces her, he will win.
We've been schooled in multi-layer drama. Shakespeare is the best example for that. A story, subtext, analysis, again, subtext, subtext, subtext. And that is not as common here. And that is actually the biggest difference.
Mà Kiusio, anh với cái thằng Romeo hợp điệu lắm.
Hợp điệu à? Ai chà, anh cho chúng tôi là phường hát rong chăng?
What was really a completely new experience for the students was the consequent work with the empty space. Normally being accustomed to decorative opulence and realistic details in costumes and props, they now had to make friends with only one abstract prop, a rope. Sometimes a ribbon was the only haptic partner.
Chắc người cũng phải thất vọng khi nghe tin Romeo bị đày.
It was all about human relationships, sometimes extended by video, microphone, and sound.
Curiously listening and trying to look what there is in the house, as if you would through a window that is very dark.
The most difficult for them to this production is like the first time they involved with the empty box. It's very, very difficult for them.
He suffers also because his friend absolutely cannot understand him.
The way how to show the emotion and connect with the body language. And on the other hand, they have learned the way how to be a professional actor. This is very important for us because it's very helpful for the student when they can apply to the theater.
Against every cliché of the superiority of social conventions, the dealing with gender constructions showed a real open-mindedness and natural curiosity on the part of the students. At the same time, we could experience that encouraging the young female artists in claiming their independent artistic position can be an important input for contemporary theatre work.
I think the most important thing is your self-consciousness, that you really are convinced that you can do it. And especially when you live in a society that is very male-oriented, it is very hard to convince men that you can do it.
Em quên mất là không biết gọi chàng lại để làm gì nữa.
Vậy thì nãy để ta đứng đây cho tới khi nào nàng nghĩ ra.
Em xin chào chàng.
The students decided to want to present it as a show and not only as a workshop. So in this point I have to say I highly estimate their open-mindedness.
In the end, all partners were overwhelmed by the result of our collaboration in many aspects. Romeo and Juliet in Hanoi turned out to be a moving and very particular interpretation of the old European play by young Vietnamese theatre students.
So I feel very happy to see our students improve. Yeah.
I love to be a learner, well, always, yeah.
During the project, I deeply felt our responsibility as a rich country and a still well-provided university to enrich others by showing them that it's not mainly about money in the arts, but about knowledge and artistic lifelong research for mastership. The contemporary applied principles of Bruch, Stanislavski, Reinhardt are mighty tools against the superficial belief in the superiority of well-donated Western theatre.
I strongly believe that the collaborations like what we are doing should be developed further in the future.
In times where politics, globally observed, become even more violent and fighting and aggressive, I think the role of artists, musicians or singers or actors or whatever, the role of artists become even more and more important as a role as an ambassador for peace.
Love surely is the best glue between two cultures. Respect for the other culture, and also, in the end, a knowledge of how that other culture works.